And we are live. Welcome, 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 one and all, to another podcast. My name is Denise Irving. I am your host for the evening, and welcome to Becoming a Happy Teacher. This is a podcast where we teach you self care strategies, tips, and all the advice you may need on how to take care of yourself as a professional teacher, as an early career teacher, even as a retired teacher. Hey, what about those homeschoolers, right? Parents, you are teachers too. And single people, we do have single teachers here. And today's topic, we'll be talking about single teachers and how they can take care of themselves, single teachers and how they can use self care strategies in their own daily lives to encourage and empower themselves. All right, so we have a special guest today. Her name is Miss Crystal Mocha, and she is coming from Canada. So I welcome Crystal to the podcast. Welcome everyone. Remember first, before I put Crystal on the podcast, remember to subscribe, follow us on all the podcast streaming platforms that you know of. Just go and type in Happy Teachers, Becoming a Happy Teacher podcast. You know the drill. If you're on YouTube and you're looking and watching with us, subscribe, 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 like, and share so that others can get the information on how they can use self care strategies to empower themselves. All right, so we are ready for Miss Admoka. She's coming in from Canada. Welcome, welcome, Christelle, to our platform. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a Sunday. Um, I've just been able to relax and yeah, it's been a great day. I started out with a walk and it's just been good since the morning.
Great. So I'm going to ask you, for persons who may not be familiar with Christelle, just introduce yourself to everyone on the platform. Tell us a little bit more about you and your journey.
Okay, so I'm Christelle Agboka, born and raised in Canada, but I've been blessed to be able to visit other countries. I spent a year in France while I was in university, and I spent almost a year and a half in Taiwan. That's where I met Venice. I was teaching English, and we've managed to stay friends ever since. So I'm grateful for that. I've also been to beautiful Jamaica. For those of you who are watching from Jamaica and other places in the Caribbean and Ghana and other parts of West Africa. I'm actually half Ghanaian. So, yeah, and I hope that when COVID is over, I'll be able to do more traveling. So, other than that, I also consider myself a musician. I sing, I play the flute, I play the piano somewhat. Um, I'm a writer. I love to read. I love taking in information and just meeting different people and learning about new cultures. So I'm here because my friend Venice has asked me to share about my self care tips as a single person. I'm
Right.
single, never married. So, I'm happy to share whatever I've learned along my journey to just live the fullest life that I can.
Absolutely. So Christelle, for those who don't know, Christelle is a former teacher. Well, she still teaches in some areas, right? You're a communication consultant. Tell us a little bit more about your career and that journey from teaching into the communications field.
Okay. Yeah, so I've had a very interesting journey. It hasn't been straightforward. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a writer. That's something that I identified from a young age that I really loved. And teachers from starting from elementary school through high school actually recognized that and gave me different opportunities, like for example, to be an English mentor, helping my peers with their English papers. So I majored in English writing and French in university. And after that, I went through a phase of not being 100% sure what I was going to do. I still had that dream of being a writer, but I also had a dream of just traveling and I had some interest in teaching as well, just from my experience as a tutor. I'll call it as a tutor for my peers when I was in high school. So I went to Taiwan. I was there for a year and a half, and I returned from there back to Canada. I did my Bachelor of Education, which at the time it's like a, when you've done your first degree, you do another degree, and you get a teaching certificate, and you also do like practical, training in the school system. So I did that. I also did a Master of Education, and I focused on career development because that was another area of interest. And I worked in an employment center for 4 years after that. So I was kind of heading toward being a career counselor, I'll say, career counseling, social work, that field. And then I just realized one day, if I don't go for my writing dreams, I'll regret it. So I applied to a course in book and magazine publishing. I went back to school, changed cities, went back to school for that course. It was a year. And, it also involved a lot of practical things. I learned about graphic design, book and magazine editing, a little bit about online, I guess, creating an online magazine, social media, etc. And then I was working in that field for a while, doing writing, editing, working in marketing in a publishing house, working as a conference producer, producing professional development conferences. And then I'll just say that, because I do come from a religious background, I believe that God opened the door for me to work where I am now, which is at the headquarters, the provincial headquarters, Ontario headquarters of my church, as the communications director. So that involves pretty much like everything that I've studied and done so far: writing, editing, social media. I also assist with like media production. I'm on screen as a speaker, and there's a teaching component to what I do as well. Training other communicators, training pastors, etc., in different aspects of communications. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to do what I love, and I feel like I'm a teacher at heart. Everything that I do really is some form of teaching. Even writing, I try to focus on what can I teach people from what I'm writing? How can I encourage them? How can I help them in some way?
All right. So I love the fact that Christelle said she basically did a self audit and looked within herself and said, hey, if I don't go back to fulfill my dreams, I will regret it. That's a good point. Guys, if you don't go back to fulfill your dreams, if you're on a journey and you realize you're unfulfilled, you realize that something is missing and there's this longing and this yearning, this passion that is within you, and it's consistently there, and you're still not able to fulfill that passion, you're not able to go for that dream. Find a way, make a plan and go for it, because you just feel like you're gonna regret it, right? So
Mhm.
thanks for that, Christelle. So today we're going to be talking about single persons, single teachers, and how single teachers can use self-care strategies to empower themselves, right? So we're looking at a particular article today. The title of the article is How to Be Happy and Single in a World That Wants You to Be Coupled Off. And I saw this article and I thought it would be an excellent article to talk about. It is written by Suzette Jamie, and she made some important points that I will go through step by step throughout this podcast. All right. So stay tuned, guys. All right. So the first uh, thing that we want to talk about regarding the article is the whole point of know that there isn't anything wrong with you. It's right up there on the screen. Know that there isn't anything wrong with you. So, Christelle, I
Mhm.
talked to you off the air and I said
Yes.
that many people think that when you say I'm single, that's a bad thing. They
Right.
immediately think it's negative.
Mhm.
Have you encountered that? And tell me why you think there isn't anything wrong with someone if they are single.
Yeah. So I have definitely encountered that, um, from my community, um, sometimes from friends, from family. They just want to have grandchildren or great grandchildren, whatever the case might be. So there has been a lot of pressure, being truthful, to get married.
Mm.
However, over time, I've determined in my own heart I would rather be happy single than unhappily married. There are a lot of people who just get married because they feel like they have to get married, and they end up not being with the right person. And I've never wanted that to be my story. So, also, I believe that, another person cannot and should not complete you. So, there's that romantic saying, I guess, you complete me, but it's not a very healthy approach because, you can't put the burden of someone else to make you feel happy all the time. They're a human being. Sometimes they will disappoint you. They can't fully understand you much as they love you. They're not in your brain. So, you have to be able to find that fulfillment within yourself. And the fact that you have not met the right person doesn't mean that, oh, there's something terribly wrong with you, because people who get married, they aren't necessarily better than people who are single. They just happen to find the right person. So
But
I,
sometimes people that are married are not married to the right person.
well, that's true too. That's true.
Or even if they're not married, but they're dating or they're in a relationship or they're living together but not married, whatever your relationship status could be, that does not mean that you're with the right person. And it
Yeah,
doesn't mean you're happy if you're coupled off,
right. Those are
right?
some good points. Yeah. So,
So,
yeah,
and you made a good point where you said that you didn't want to be unhappily married. You would prefer to be happily single. People
right.
do make choices to be coupled off just because it's a good show. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, right? It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good show. It looks good, and it will they can bypass all the questions that people ask them about relationships and why you're with anyone and all of that. So people make decisions, you know, based on their past, based on their present, to be in relationships that maybe they shouldn't be in,
Mm-hmm.
right? So personally speaking, I think it is more courageous to be single and happy and free than to be coupled off in something that's unhealthy just to save your face.
Oh,
Understand?
yes, 100%.
All right. So there isn't anything wrong with you. The article goes on to say, I've never had a serious relationship before, so I'm used to being single. Comparatively, it's been interesting to see my few friends who are comfortable being single and those who feel they need to be in a relationship to be complete. And that is piggybacking off what you just said, Christelle, about people feeling that they need someone else to complete them. Single life at this point, I would say, is for you to look within. And if you do feel you need someone to complete you, then something is wrong. That's just maybe a trigger light to say, hey, maybe you need to do something else. Maybe you need to enroll in a course. Maybe you need to learn something new because no one can complete you. And speaking from the spiritual side, only God really can complete you. So you can be single, happy, and whole and completed all by yourself. All
Yes.
right. All right. So the next one we want to talk about that the article raises: when you are single, you should set and reach your goals. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Christelle?
Yeah. So I would say I'm really big into goal setting. At the beginning of the year, I actually was part of this, I guess I'll call it a series of seminars where, with a small group of people, we went through this document where we analyzed like 2020, the highs and the lows, what did we learn, what went well, what didn't go so well. And then we looked ahead as well, like what would we like 2021 to look like. So I did that. And I was also part of a different session where we did vision boards. So I actually created a vision board on my phone using Canva, and I turn to that every so often. So, so like that's something that I want to continue and build upon, I guess, as the year goes on. Just setting goals in different aspects of my life, whether it's my physical health, mental health, spiritual, social life, my work, career, other creative projects that I want to do. So, so for me, if you're not setting goals and you're not purposeful in your life, you're just not making the best use of the time. Time is a gift. And that's something I'm very conscious of, especially as a single person. Um, you have that gift of time that you can just focus on yourself and the goals that you want to achieve.
Right. So, as teachers, we all, have different demands on our, when it comes to jobs, when it comes to our personal life, with family, friends, social life, even physically. Yeah. If our health is not the best, that can take a toll on us. Even stress can take a toll on us. But I always encourage people, whenever you have that time, reach your goals. This is the best time to set and reach the goals when you are not coupled off, when you are single and you need have that time to dedicate to reaching your goals. All right. For persons who are a bit older, maybe you are retired and maybe you are single because you are a widower or a widow. Setting and reaching goals is not lost on you. You can also set and reach goals. No matter what season of life you're at, no matter what stage of life you're at. All right. So let me just give you a quick tidbit on the article and what it says about setting and reaching your goals. It says, set goals in all areas of your life: career, social, hobbies, religious, health, mental, physical, and anywhere else. Set goals for the next couple of months and even the next couple of years. So you should have short term goals and long term goals. Remember, you can always adjust your goals when life throws you a curveball, but choose to do something with your life, even if you may not have a significant other as yet. So you still can be a productive citizen. You can still do fabulous work. You can still present your whole completed self to the world as you are and reach your goals. In the meanwhile, you're looking for or finding or meeting people or dating, all of that can be done at the same time. All right. So we're on to the next point of the article. We're blowing through these quickly. Get to know the real you. Now, I said in my class last week that many people don't even know themselves. And it's interesting that when you do look within yourself, you realize you don't really know yourself. Because, the simple fact is, if a situation ever happens, maybe it's a situation where, um, something happens maybe out of this world. Maybe you're stuck in a house and the house is on fire. What do? You can't tell me what you're gonna do. You're gonna run out, you're gonna stop, you're gonna save someone, what are you gonna do? Sometimes when situations throw you a curveball, you don't even know what you'll do. So
Mhm.
sometimes we don't know ourselves enough to know what our reactions will be, what our choices will be, what our decisions will be when certain situations happen. So I think when you are without a significant other right now, this is the best time to get to know you. What do you say, Christelle?
Yeah, this is something that, comes pretty easily to me because, I'm a naturally introspective person. But I feel like over the past year, during COVID, I really got to know myself on a deeper level because, I didn't have the same stimulation and distractions that I would normally have. As a communications director, you can imagine, I was doing a lot of traveling. I was going to different events. I was always out. So So I've been inside a lot more. We're actually in um, a lockdown right now in Ontario, and I've still been very busy. My job did not really slow down. It just changed, I'm gonna say. However, I do find myself with more time in a sense to just to look within, and I've spent that time like just journaling, asking myself hard questions about different aspects of life, like what do I really want, in my career, what do I really want in a future partner if I should get married, um, what are some changes that I would like to make. So I've done a lot of that, and then just the friends that I've been blessed to have. I share a lot with them. We share with each other, just different thoughts about different aspects, career, relationships, spiritual life, etc. I find that that helps me as well to kind of refine my own views. And then just spending time reading spiritual books, or listening to podcasts or YouTube, counseling as well. That's something that I have engaged in, and I found it helpful to some degree. So I do feel that it's important to know who you are, because especially say that you want to find a partner later in life, later on in your life. If you don't know who you are, how do you know the kind of person who would be a good fit for you? And if you don't know your purpose, how do you know who's going to align with your purpose? So, so I feel like the work that I'm doing right now, is beneficial to me as a single person to put my best self out there in the world. And if I should get married, it will help me as well, just to make the right choices.
And then you do have the saying, well, I always say, date yourself. Take
Yeah.
yourself out on a date. Yeah, you don't need another person to take you out on a date. Date
Hmm.
yourself, and that's a great practice. When you date yourself, then you know that you can um, be more real with yourself. Ask yourself the real questions, and try to distinguish between the public you and the real you.
Yeah.
There is a public persona that we put out there for everyone to see, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's authentic and sometimes it's a little bit fake. Hello, you know who you are. But then you have the private you, which is the real you, which is the you, the person that is you behind closed doors, the person
Right.
that is you when the lights are off, when no one is looking. So know your integrity, know what you stand for, know your morals, know your values, know what you'll say yes to and what you'll say no to. And if you do that introspection and you find that there's something lacking there, maybe when it comes to morals or integrity, this is a time for you to level up, right? As the song say, level up, level up, level up, level it up, right? Decide the standard that you want. And if you fall a little bit below the standard, find out how you're going to get these strategies to work your way up to the standard that you should be, right? So make commitments. Um, Maybe you could have an accountability partner, someone that you trust, that you know, that you can be accountable to when it comes to moral values, integrity, things like that. All right. So a little tidbit from the article. It says, "What do you want from life? How do you handle yourself under pressure? What are your standards and beliefs? If you could accomplish only one thing in life, what would you want it to be?" Ask yourself these questions and know who you are as a real person and an individual. Know the kind of people you want to be in your life and know the kind of person you want to be. So, if you're not the person you want to be now, don't be too hard on yourself. No one is, right? We all have improvements to make. But don't stay where you're at. Make plans to move forward and make sure that you document your progress so that you see that you're actually progressing. All right. Okay, so let us look at the next point. And the next point is develop good habits. So, what kind of habits are we talking about to develop, Christelle?
This is a hard question for me because I wouldn't say that I'm the most naturally structured person, but I am working on developing good habits, mostly for me, like having accountability, just stating my intentions to other people. Um, and then, like when you put something out there, it puts more pressure on you to follow through. So that's the honest truth. But I think also for me, it has been just taking inventory of different aspects of my life. Like, these are some areas in which I can improve. These are some bad habits that I have at the moment that I need to level up, in these areas. So I believe that it is really important to just be honest with yourself. Okay, I struggle with X, Y, and Z. I don't have the best habits in these areas. For example, recently I decided to join this exercise, online exercise program because I realized I wasn't being very consistent with physical fitness. And it's important for your mental health and your physical health to move your body. And I have a friend who is a fitness coach. And whether I like it or not, she checks in with me to make sure that I'm following through. So, so for me, discipline is the key to success. Like dream big, have your vision, but then you also have to be disciplined enough to do the small things every day that lead to the big goals that you have. So that's something that I'm actively working on.
Okay, great. And developing good habits, this is a time right now when you're single, when you may have a little bit more time. And let me stick a pin. I don't want to assume that everyone that is single has time. Not all single people have time, and that's probably a misconception too, right?
Oh,
Thinking
yeah.
that, oh, you're single, so you have all the time in the world to do anything you want to do. That may not necessarily be so. So, for those who do have the time while they're single, developing good habits, this is a time where you can practice good things that you can do in your life. If you realize that there are things that you're doing that is destructive, then you have a little time to work on it and become more productive than destructive. So I also want to point out something from the article. It says we all have areas in which we can improve on, right? We all have things we wish we didn't do or we didn't say. So start working on these things now. If you wish to keep your house clean, then start keeping your house clean now. I'm not gonna say I'm the best housewife. I am not. So I always encourage people, if you're not the best at something, then get an assistant. If you don't like cleaning all the time, and I find it to be very repetitive to be cleaning house. Get a maid, get a housekeeper, get someone once a week to come in and clean. If you don't like paperwork, it's a lot of paperwork, get an assistant. You don't even have to get a full time assistant. Do you know you can just get an assistant from 5R and hire them like once a week for 3 hours to do your paperwork? And that's it. So whatever you don't like to do or maybe you don't find joy in doing, you can always hire outside help or get a freelancer to help you with that. All right. So why wait until someone comes into your life to become a better person? If you find that there's something lacking and that you need to develop some good habits in a certain area, go ahead and do it. Right. Okay. And the last point that we're going to make on in this part one of our video is decide what you want in a relationship. And is this to decide what you want in a relationship with your significant other, or is it relationships across the board? If it's a friendship, family, sister relationship, brother relationship, whatever relationship you have. Christelle, what say you?
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. So for me, I guess it's kind of deciding what I want in a relationship romantically, as well as in my relationships across the board. Like I feel like I've made conscious choices in the last few years in particular, as far as which kinds of people do I want to be in my inner circle, and I'm happy to say, like, so in my younger years, I'm sure people can relate to this. I had frenemies. So they're people who are kind of your friend, but, not really. And, and I just, I feel as I get older, I just don't have, time for that. Like, I have a
You
very
don't have
busy,
patience for
I
that.
don't have time or
It's
patience.
either you're a friend or you're an enemy. Choose a side.
Yeah. So that has helped me to kind of narrow down and just, I really, at this point in time, enjoy the friendships that I have, because I've been intentional and kind of selective as far as these are the types of people that I want to be in my inner circle.
Right.
And I feel like, as well, with relationships, I have spent more time probably in the last year, just really thinking about what I want, and um, starting from who am I, who am I, like, who am I as a person? What do I have to bring to the table? What are some areas of improvement for me? And what kind of person do I need? You know, and I feel like in the past, I so there, I remember watching a seminar, relationship seminar, where they were talking about need love versus appreciative love. So need love is kind of more like, oh, I need you. I need you because I'm insufficient, in these major ways, and you're going to fill in the gaps. And I mean, I do believe that in a relationship, you kind of complement each other. You're not necessarily strong in the same things or weak in the same things, but you bring what you have, uh, the strengths you have together, and you form a stronger unit. That's what I see as the ideal. However, um, I think that as a single person, you should try to come into the relationship as whole as you can, and being able to stand on your own, so that you're not just relying on this other person to be your everything. So I've spent a lot of time, just in terms of, like I mentioned, reading books, reading the Bible, reading other spiritual books, talking to people, attending seminars, journaling, just really asking myself, what do I actually need? Not what does society say that I should need or want, but what do I, Christelle, need? What kind of relationship do I want? So, um, and something that I heard just today, actually, I attended a seminar. So it was called, it had two parts: what every man needs to know, what every woman needs to know. Um, it was really great. And, they had panels of women, they had panels of men. And at the end of the day, the men said, there's someone for everyone. You might think, oh, I have to be a certain way, I have to look a certain way, or whatever the case is, but there is someone for everyone. Just be confident in who you've been created to be strong in your purpose on this earth, and you'll find, you know if it is meant to be, I'm going to say, rather than giving like a blanket statement. If you are meant to be married, and it's something you strongly desire, there is someone out there for you.
Absolutely. All right. And deciding what you want in a relationship, especially when it comes to family relationships, with your mom, dad, sister, brother, all those siblings, even if it is about, a relationship with your grandmother, even work relationships. As teachers, we have relationships with our co-workers, and with our friends and so forth. We have to decide and set a standard for each relationship that we enter, right? And that we allow in our lives. So, like Christelle said, if you have someone that is, as we would say in Jamaica, wishy washy, I don't know if you've ever heard that term. It's someone that you just don't know if that person is a friend or an enemy. You don't know if that person is truly your cheerleader or really just trying to tear you down. You have to decide the standard in which you want in a relationship, any relationship, and then go for it. And that there is no problem in trying to create healthy boundaries for yourself. When you decide that maybe this person is not the best person for you to be interacting with, and maybe you're kind of not spending as much time with them, they may feel slighted. And then they may say, oh, well, she's acting all weird. She's acting new. She's just acting as if she's better than me. It may not be so. It may just you being able to start putting up healthy boundaries, protecting your peace, protecting your peace of mind,
Mhm.
and that is a self-care strategy. Putting up healthy boundaries and protecting your peace of mind are healthy strategies for you for self-care. So decide what you want in a relationship, and it also goes for the relationship with your significant other. If this person is not someone that is good for you, if it's unhealthy, if unhealthy feelings arise with this person by your side, set up healthy boundaries. Maybe just say hi and bye, and that's it. Because that's the only thing that won't affect you. You understand? So don't let anyone guilt you if you decide to set up healthy boundaries. All right. So this is the end of part one. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you gain a lot of tips and strategies from what we talked about with Miss Christella Hooker. We will be doing part two in the next video, so stay tuned for part two. Like I said, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe and share. And if you're on podcast and you're listening to us, you can always share it and follow us on all podcast platforms. So until next time, I will see you. This is Rennie Irving saying over and out. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.